Again. Hello, YouTube. Fellow gamers here, bringing you back with another deck profile. This time I'm going to be doing this old, on the Cam Studio and stuff. I'll put a link in the description for that, and so you can have it. It's free, and it's working out for me so far. You just have to change some of the options, and it works. But into the meat and the potatoes of the video. Let's talk about Archfiends. Archfiends is possibly one of my most favorite decks of all time, next to Micro and Blackwings. I don't know why, I just like this deck a lot. So I brought you a deck profile, so here it is. We're going to run triple Heiress. Heiress is the Sangan of the deck. It can get its effects off of card effects that would easily get this card off. It gets its effect off of 49 and Zen mains, which is really fantastic. One or two Commander. Commander is actually really good in this deck because it's a free special summon. Sure, it can't attack the turn that it's special summoned, but that really doesn't matter when your opponent is staring to a 3000 beat stick in its face. One, Calvary. Calvary is fantastic for the simple fact is that one, it's a 1900 beat stick, and two, it can special summon anything from the deck, which is fantastic. Three, Archfiend Emperor Lord of Horror. This card is your Scrap Dragon. Not only that, it can be tributed, it can be summoned without ever tributing anything. So, sure, it dies at the end phase, but really, popping that card and getting a free swing of 2000 is pretty decent. There are ways to get this card out anyway, so that is why I run this card. 3 Trance. I absolutely love this card at 3. If I run this at 2, I don't see it at all, or if not enough. At 1 would probably just be too devastating for me to even see it. This card gets effects off like Heiress, it gets Heiress and Plaguespreader and Grave, which are pretty fantastic. Plus, I can get back cards like Plaguespreader and things that I banished for this card and this card, so it works out really well. One, Torbus, because Torbus is fantastic. Torbus is a great thing in this deck because you're running all darks, and running a Fiend engine like this is pretty good. Tour Guide, because why wouldn't you run Tour Guide in this deck? Tour Guide is a fantastic card. It gets your rank 3s out really easily. So, yeah, that works out there too. Plaguespreader. People are going to suggest that I run Mask Chameleon. I don't like Mask Chameleon. For the simple reason is that Mask Chameleon I find is a little bit worse than Plaguespreader. Sure, you can make 8s and you can make 7s and all that stuff. But really, this card can make 6s, 7s, and 8s if it really wanted to. This deck can make 5, 6s, and 8s when it needs to. Plus, it's recyclable, unlike Mask Chameleon. Sure, you get a free special summon one of these, but really, you're not really going to lose the card all that much to begin with. So it works out in the end. 2 Tragodia, because you're going to end up with an empty field sometimes, and this card is actually really good for stopping at least one attack, if not all of them, because, sometimes a 3000 attacker is scary. Gorz is the same reason. Gorz is fantastic. I like Gorz better than Trag. I wish this card would go to 2, though. 1 Dark Arm, because Dark Arm is fantastic. Sometimes this card can be a dead card, but sometimes it's really good in your hand anyway, so you can use it for Allure of Darkness fodder and stuff like that. So, yeah. Palabrynth. This card is absolutely broken. It's retarded. All Fiend-type monsters that I control, not my opponent, either, they gain 500 attack, which is fantastic, because every card in this deck will need that boost. And the boost is absolutely phenomenal. 500 attack is actually really good for this deck. Not to mention, I can target an Archfiend card on the field and then banish one Fiend-type monster that I also control and special summon one Archfiend of the same, I believe, level as from my hand, deck, or graveyard, which is really fantastic. So you can have this card on the field and you can have something else on the field, one of these Archfiends on the field. You could just banish it and special summon another one of these and have 2 Scrap Dragons that you can use. Pot of Duality. Consistency is a slight problem in the deck. This helps a lot. So, yeah. Allure of Darkness. You're running an all-dark deck, so why not add the extra draw power to it? Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is fantastic because it gets off Heiress, plus you can send other things if you need to. Dark Hole. Dark Hole is absolutely great because it wipes the field, plus it can get off cards effects like Calvary and Heiress. One Solemn, because it's Solemn. 3 Roar. Roar is absolutely fantastic. People actually recommend Call of the Haunted over this card, and I just don't see why. Archfiend's Roar is good because it gets an any Archfiend back from the grave for a turn, and normally you're going to grab this guy or this guy to get their effects off faster. Sometimes you grab this guy, but not too much, and occasionally you might grab this guy 1 or 2 duels sometimes. But mostly you're going to grab this one, or this one. This card is absolutely fantastic because this card doesn't lose its boost, it doesn't lose its attack. This card gets its effect off, and so does this one, because this card, it says destroy this card. This card happens to activate when the card is destroyed by a card effect. This card is a card effect, by the way, if you didn't notice. One-Dimensional Prison. Dimensional Prison is really good. 2 Karma Cut. This card has proven to be really versatile for me this format. It stops a lot of things, and it stops a lot of things that are just straight up annoyances. Facing this card is absolutely devastating to an opponent because they don't even know this. A lot of the times they don't even know this card even exists. So it's really fantastic. Raigeki Break. Raigeki Break is kind of in here for the same reason as Karma Cut. Not very many people run this card, but I don't know why. This card is fantastic. It gets rid of not only front row and back row. So in this deck, this guy can do the same, but it's really what this card does is really fantastic. Phoenix Wingling Blast. I find this even more broken than Compulse. Compulse, sure, it sends it back to the hand, but this is really bad against any dragon matchup. This card actually solves that problem, at least temporarily. It also stops Cliff Forts temporarily also, so it works out in the end. I run 2 Light-Imprisoning Mirrors. You should at least side 2 of these, because 2 of these are great. It stops all the Lightsworn problems. Dragonsworn stops in its tracks because of this card. And there's other things like that this deck stops. It stops Constellars and stuff like that, so it's really good. Big Burn. I've just recently tested this side card out, and it's worked fantastic for me. Big Burn, what it does is when your opponent activates a card effect that targets a card in the monster in the graveyard, it removes all of them from play. So what this means is that in Mermails, they reach for stuff in the graveyard quite often, and so do Lightsworns. You flip this up, and they have to send all their combo pieces to the grave, or they have to banish all their combo pieces. So it's fantastic. 2 Wiretap, because I like Wiretap. I mean, sure, it's not the best trap in the world. In fact, it's probably kind of one of the worst in a way, because if you don't remember, there was a card that did the exact same thing, except it would flip the face down. 1 Soul Drain. This card gets rid of things that are annoyances in your opponent's graveyard. Sure, it stops Heiress and Calvary, but in the grand scheme of things, that's literally 5 cards. Sometimes 5 cards can be bad, but really it doesn't make much of a difference. Prohibition, because Prohibition stops all those annoyances. People might not think this card is a good card. I disagree, because it gets rid of the unnecessary wants that you need that are in the way. 2 Night Beam. This deck doesn't run that much back row destruction, aside from the 5 that I just mentioned up here, which are these 2, if you couldn't remember. Night Beam is really good because your opponent can't activate things to it, so yeah. 1 Thunder King. Thunder King stops both players from adding things. Sure, it stops Heiress, but that's 1 card. This card is phenomenal against a lot of decks this format, and I really believe that it has potential. 3 Battle Fader. Like Gorz, you're going to end up with an empty field, and this card kind of stops that. It really does stop it, and it just helps. Plus it's another fiend that you can tribute off for this guy, or not? No, you can't tribute off for this guy. What am I saying? This card is really good. 1 Catastor. And 1 Amadeus. Really, sometimes you make level 5s, but you really don't want to. if you're going to make level 5s, you should really just use this instead of the heiresses. But sometimes you have to, and it kind of gets annoying, but you know, they're in here because they can be really good. Goyo, I know that he's not the best level 6 in the world. In fact, I believe he's not as broken as he once was. But Goyo is a must-stay in this deck. I like this card a lot because you can make him really easy and really fast. One Beelze, because really you're running all darks, and Plaguespreader happens to be a dark turner. This is probably one of the reasons why I prefer Plaguespreader over Mass Chameleon, is because this card is a boss. I mean, if you don't like this card, I don't know what's wrong with you. Crimson Blader, this card answers to so many things that it's not really even fun anymore. So, Dark Knight Dragon, this is also a very interesting card. It sends things to the grave, so it doesn't destroy them. Which means cards like Zenmains and Fortune Tune don't get their effects off. Cards that are that get their effects that are destroyed, they won't get their effects off either because it doesn't destroy them. Stardust Spark Dragon, I like this card a lot. In fact, I like this card even more so than the cards that I just previously mentioned, except for Beelze. This card is fantastic. I like this card a lot. It's really good. Scribe Dragon is fantastic in the deck. I have no qualms with this card. You summon, pop a card, and then you just attack for 28. I mean, sure, this card does the exact same thing, which is why I run it. But sometimes you just need that extra one. Plus, he stays at 28 and he doesn't lose attack, so that's the plus side for him. One Levier, you're going to be banishing things a lot in this deck, and getting them back would be really good. So getting these back when you banish them, or getting these back when you banish them, is actually a not too bad strategy. Fortune Tune, you make this card probably more than anything else in the extra deck, because this card is so good. First things first, you gain 500 life points during each standby phase. Sure, it's not the highlight of the card, but really, it can't be targeted by card effects, which is fantastic. I like that part. If it were to be destroyed, it's like Zenmains, where it detaches and it protects itself. It's also like Gakijigashi this way. The only problem is that it doesn't destroy anything, which is fine. You don't really want this card to destroy anything anyway. That would kind of be bad on you, because it would really not do that great, because your opponent might have the one thing on the field. So, plus when this card dies, when this card officially dies, you can take two level 3 monsters and this card and send them back. So this card recycles itself, which is really good. Nightmare Shark, I'm actually gonna get rid of this card for Zenmains because I don't like this card all that much. I rarely go into it, and when I do, I don't like him. He's just not over. He's decent, but he's not the best rank 3 that you could go for in the deck. There are a lot better ones than him. One Master Key Beetle. Master Key Beetle is absolutely good in this deck. Key Beetle prevents things from dying. It also protects himself if you need him. So he works out for really good. One Black Ship of Corn. The same reason why I'm running Dark and Dragon. Black Ship of Corn is fantastic. I love this card. I want this card to go back to. I want this card more of. So, Lavalval Chain. Lavalval Chain is pretty good because it's a Foolish Burial that you can use twice. Since Foolish Burial is at 1, this card is a great mainstay because it gets off heiresses and it gets off things that you need in the graveyard. Not to mention you can choose a card from your deck and place it on the top of your deck, which is great. So if you needed another monster that worked with it, then you could really set up your combo pieces this way. One Heretic Sun God. I know I called it God, but it's not really. That's really what it's called in the OCG, and I like that name better. The card is really good. You're running level 8, so you should run at least 1 rank 8. This card destroys all. It can be a black hole if you need him to. He destroys everything. So, plus he's a 3000 attacker, which is really great. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys like the deck profile. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the description below, and I will see you guys next deck profile. Peace.